doing own voice over soft music. Jungkook was laying on his bed while using his phone. To be specific, he was just admiring his love's pic. "You are so beautiful, Vine," he said to the picture in his phone while his eyes were sparkling with love for Vine. Jungkook slid the screen and there comes a pic of Vine which he took when they last time visited. "You are so babe," he said while checking out Vine's pic and licked his lip while his eyes were roaming on her and his mind started imagining all sort of things he'd do with her on, resulting in making him. And he came to reality when he feel a little. "I got," he said while looking down and shrimp and "I'm again coming to you, baby," he said to Vine's pic and immediately got up from his bed, took a shirt and wore it, and slowly jumped down from his room's balcony. Jungkook sneakingly got into Vine's room balcony and opened the door as the door wasn't locked, making things more easy for Jungkook, so he slowly got into the room, and there he saw his love sleeping peacefully wrapped in blanket as he left her few minutes ago. "So cute," he said while admiring the sleeping beauty, but then he again felt down there, which reminded him for what he has came over here. So he immediately went to the door to check if locked or not, and it was locked. So he again walked towards the bed and slowly got into the blanket. "Baby," he whispered in Vine's ear and thus started giving her from her earlobe to her neck so as to wake her up. But could she in her sleep, and Jungkook pulled back from Vine's neck and shrimp appeared on his lip when he realized that Vine can even recognize in sleep, which made him proud. So he placed his lips on hers and started her, which made Vine slip to broke and she opened her eyes just to see Jungkook her. Cook, she pushed Jungkook, making both of them face each other. "Cook, why did you again came here at this late night? You clearly know why I am here, so let's," saying this he whines and she melted in his and ended up him back, making Jungkook smile in between before deepening the Jungkook fall beside Vine. Both of them were breathing heavily. "You okay, cutie?" he asked Vine while facing her and she to turn her face to him. "Yeah, fine, but what the you did in the middle of the night to get did you watch?" She asked him, raising her eyebrows, making Jungkook shrimp. "No, I didn't watch any videos. Instead, I was going through your pics in my gallery and it made me for you," she sincerely said to Vine, making Vine blush. But then her dad's face came in her mind, making her smile to drop, and she snuggled more into his and hugged him tightly as if he will leave her, and all those things didn't go unnoticed by Jungkook. Well, Jungkook thought, "I know, babe, what are you thinking? I am thinking of a way to make your dad approve our relationship, and trust me, babe, soon I will come up with an idea," he threw thought as he clearly got what Vine is thinking, and then he lastly peeked Vine's forehead and lovingly hugged her, and slowly both fall asleep while thinking how to convenience. Jungkook was already awake and was admiring Vine, who was sleeping so peacefully in his arm with his eyes fall on the clock on the nightstand behind Vine, and he sighed, realizing that now he has to leave before Vine's dad see him in Vine's room and things get more complicated. I should leave now." He slowly made Vine's head lay properly on her pillow, and then he slowly got up from bed and took his clothes. After wearing his clothes, he took Vine's clothes and made Vine wear it, making sure she doesn't wake up. And after that, he stood straight and checked the room just to see everything is okay, so as Vine's dad won't find any evidence of him being here. "Everything is good," he said to himself after checking the room, and then he leaned towards Vine's sleeping figure and, "Baby, bye. See you after few hours." Saying this, he Vine's forehead and was about to pull back from, but luckily his eyes fall onto the used under the bed, making his eyes wide open. "I forget it." He immediately took them and tied the edge and put it inside his pocket. "Thank God I saw it, and now I should leave." He lastly glanced at Vine and walked towards balcony and jumped down. Vine woke up, but still her eyes are closed. She stretched her arms to the left where Jungkook slept, but as she didn't felt his presence, she opened her eyes and turned her face to left to see its Vine sign. When did he left? She asked herself and sat straight on bed and took her phone to call Jungkook and ask him when he left. But she stopped when she heard the bedroom door knocking, and then she heard "Princess, you up?" A wide smile appear on her lips, and she threw her phone on bed and walked towards the door and opened it. "Appa, good morning." She threw herself on her dad, which he happily hugged her back. "Morning, baby. Had a good sleep?" He peeked her side of head and Vine pulled back from the hug. "Yes, Appa. And you?" "Good. Wait, what is this?" he asked while tilting Vine's head a little so as to get a clear view of her neck. "What, Appa?" he asked, being totally unaware and It seems like something bite you. Wine's eyes wide open when she realized that and she immediately took her dad's hand from her and covered her neck with hair. Appa, maybe something bite me when I was sleeping, she said while awkwardly smiling. Oh, do you want ice or anything to apply on it? No, I will put on some medicine. Don't worry, Appa. Okay, then freshen up and come downstairs for breakfast, he said, to which Wine nodded her head, and Wine's dad walked to downstairs to kitchen, and Wine took a deep breath and left to freshen up. Jungkook was waiting for Wine so that they can together go to college as every other day, and soon his eyes fall on Wine coming towards the car, and a sweet smile appeared on his lips, and he kept admiring her till he gets in the car. Let's go, Bunny, she said while pulling her seatbelt, but she didn't got any reply, so she turned to face Jungkook just to see he was lost in her. Bunny, she left the seatbelt and waved her hand in front of him, bringing him back to earth. Yes, baby. I said, let's go, we are getting late, she said, and was again about to pull her seatbelt, but oh my god, she gasped when Jungkook pulled her to his and pulled her closer to him, leaving no gap between them. Cook, she called him while biting her lips because her heart was beating fast, and she can feel Jungkook's heart too beating faster as her hands were on his. Why are you wearing this scarf? He asked while slowly removing the scarf from her neck. Because yesterday night, she said and rolled her eyes, making Jungkook shrimp and proud. Oh, let me see how looks like. Saying this, he completely removed the scarf, and his eyes fall on the, making him feel proud. Meanwhile, Wine just kept admiring him. Wow, it looks so good on you, he said, and leaned towards Wine's neck and peeked her all over the, which he gave her yesterday, making Wine to close her eyes and tightly hold Jungkook's shirt as she was enjoying her light. Kokshi when he just a new spot on her neck, and Jungkook pulled back from her neck. Now it's look more good, he said while admiring the new he just created, and then he'd look at Wine just to see her with a red face and biting her lips. Don't them, he said while removing her bottom lips from her teeth and peeked her lips, making Wine more blush. Now shall we go? Wine just nodded her head, and then she got up from Jungkook's and sat on the passenger seat, and Jungkook kept admiring her. Here, he leaned towards Wine and made her wear the scarf again, making sure none of her are visible, and then he put on the seatbelt for Wine, and lastly, now shall we can go. Wine nodded her head and Jungkook her forehead, and then he started the engine to go to the university. Cook, when did you left? She asked him while facing him. In morning. Why? Nothing, you didn't wake me up as you always do. You were sleeping peacefully, so I didn't feel like waking you up, he said while still facing the road. But you should have waked me up. I didn't like waking up alone on bed without you, she unknowingly said, making Jungkook to look at Wine, and Wine to realize that she unknowingly said that she has feeling for him and made Jungkook happy, and Wine didn't regret telling that. Jungkook smiled. Sorry, from today I will wake you up and then only I will leave, he said, and placed his hand above Wine's and started cherishing Wine's as she was wearing a miniskirt, and Wine felt shiver when he cherished her, and she looked at his hand on her. Okay, she said while her eyes still fixed on his hand above her, and Jungkook smiled, seeing Wine admiring his hand over her, and continued driving. Stop the car at parking lot of university. Let's go, cutie, he said while facing Wine. Yes, Cook. Both of them got out of the car and started walking inside the university. Meanwhile, all the other students kept rolling on them as they are the heartthrob of university. But Wine and Jungkook ignored them all and continued walking inside the university. Cutie, you go to classroom. I will be back. Where are you going, Cook? Mr. Lee has asked for me. Wine nodded her head, and Jungkook walked to the professor's cabin. Vine got all her things and closed her locker and started walking towards her classroom, but she halted on her step when she heard someone calling her. So she turned around and saw, You called me, Jack. Jack walked towards Vine and stood in front of her. Yeah, I did, he said with a small smile on his lips. Why? She asked him, which made Jack's ear turn red and his eyes started shaking, and this didn't go unnoticed by Vine. Vine, I want to say something. Vine already got what he wanted to say, but then she thought maybe she is wrong, so yeah, say I'm listening. She asked him to continue, and Jack took a deep breath before saying, Vine, I love you, he said while being shy, but he tried to keep his eye contact with her. Vine sighed, Jack, I don't like you. Hope you understand. Saying this, Vine turned around and left without even waiting for Jack's reply nor even giving him time to say. As soon as Vine left, Jack's eyes turned red, and now what should I do to get her? He said while his eyes were still fixed on Vine's disappearing figure. But little did Jack and Vine knew that someone was also there apart from them and heard everything. Vine entered the classroom and go to her seat and made herself comfortable. Where is he? Why he is taking this much time? She said to herself as Jungkook still has not come to classroom, and soon the door of classroom opened and he saw the professor entering the classroom followed by Jungkook. Vine's eyes light up after seeing Jungkook, and Jungkook came and sat beside Vine, and he faced Vine just to see her already admiring him. Jungkook smiled. What happened, cutie? Nothing. Why you take this much time? Nothing. Professor stopped me and said to accompany him to class. Oh, okay. And then they both stopped their talk as the professor started the lecture. Vine's dad and Jungkook's dad faced each other in surprise after what they heard from the person who was sitting in front of him. What did you say, Mr. Kim? He asked, making both Vine's dad and Jungkook's dad to face him. You mean your son loves my daughter and wants to marry her? Jack dad smiled. Exactly. And also I think it will be benefit for our company. He said, making Vine's dad look at Jungkook's dad for an answer. I think it's good. What you say, John? He asked Jungkook's dad opinion. Whatever you decide, Kim, I will always be with you. He assured Wine with a small sad smile because he knew his son's feeling for Wine, and also he and his wife too want Wine to be with his son, but he can never force Wine's dad who is already by his past. I'm okay with it, but let me first ask Princess about it. Okay, as you say. Okay, then I will leave and I will send the contract paper through mail, he said, as they were all business partners too. Yeah, okay. He stood up and followed by Jack's dad and both did a handshake and but Jungkook's dad was just lost in his thought as he was thinking how Jungkook will react to this news. John, let's leave. Kid might have reached home and now I want to discuss it with Princess too. He said, bringing Jungkook's dad to earth, and he saw only he and Wine's dad was left in the meeting room. Yeah, let's leave. He sadly said and both left the meeting room. Jungkook stopped the car in front of his house and Wine immediately got out of the car and ran towards her house to see Homma, Jungkook's mom, because she raised her after Wine's mom. So Wine called Jungkook's mom as Homma and dad as Appa. Jungkook, slow down, cutie, he shouted after getting out of his car, but Wine was already near the doorbell and ringing the bell impatiently urged this girl. He smiled, seeing Wine being impatient, and he was about to walk towards Wine, but he halted when his phone rang, and he took his phone after seeing the caller ID. His face turned cold and scary, and he poked his cheek and looked at Wine and then walked a little backward to take the call so as Wine wouldn't hear him. Coming, baby, she said as she already knew it's Wine and Jungkook, and she opened the door just for Wine to throw herself on Jungkook's mom. Jungkook mom smiled. I go, seems smile like my baby missed me, she said while cherishing her hair and peeking her side of it, and Wine then pulled back from the hug. Yeah, I did, Oma, she said with a cute pout, making Jungkook's mom ow at her cuteness. Jungkook mom smiled. I too missed you. How was your day? Good, Oma, but I am very tired, she said and walked towards the couch and dropped herself on the couch. Oh, my baby is tired. Wine just nodded her head, and Jungkook's mom walked towards her and sat next to her and just remove it, baby. Why are you wearing a scarf in this hot season? She said and took off Wine's scarf, making Wine so relaxed after the fresh air passed her neck and half of her tiredness flew away. Oh God, it feels heaven, she said, but Jungkook's mom's eyes fall on the, making her shrimp after understanding who has the to mark Wine that is only her son, which remind her of Jungkook. So where is that bunny? She asked, making Wine sat straight, and she looked at the doorstep, but there was no trace of Jungkook. Cook, he was with me, but she stopped when she saw Jungkook walking inside the house while using his phone. Cook, where did you gone? She asked him, gaining his attention, and he faced Wine and his mom, and he put his phone back inside his pocket. Got an important call, he said while walking towards Wine and his mom and stood in front of them. Okay, come you both freshen up. I will prepare snacks for you both. Okay, Oma. Jungkook's mom left to the kitchen and Jungkook sat next to Wine on couch. Tired, he asked Ryan, who was already admiring him. Come, I will carry you to room, he said, making Wine smile, and he picked up Wine in bridal style and started walking to go upstairs to his room. But he halted on his midway when he heard I'm home, Annie, he said, walking inside the house, and his eyes fall on Wine and Jungkook, who were already looking at him. But the scene of Wine being in his son's arm hurted Jungkook's dad hard. Appa, you earlier, he said, and walked back to living room and stood in front of his dad, and he made Wine stand. Yeah, and how is my princess doing today? He asked while putting on a fake smile and bending a little down as Wine is small in height. Good, Appa, and you am good too. He peeked Wine's forehead, and Jungkook kept admiring his dad and his love with a smile, but then they heard. Honey, you home? She said while coming from kitchen with a tray of snack and two coffee cup and stood in front of them and placed the tray on the tea table. Yeah, honey. And Wine dear, your Appa is home too and asked you to go there as he want to say something very important to you. Wine Tron and what important thing her Appa wants to say to her. So what important thing, Appa? She asked Jungkook's dad in confusion, but it made Jungkook's dad confused whether he say it to Wine or let Wine's dad itself say it to her. So he himself will tell you. He patted Wine's head, and this time Jungkook's mom and Jungkook got it that his dad is hiding something because pain was clearly visible in his eyes. Okay, then I will go. Jungkook's dad nodded his head, and she was about to leave, but baby, have something and then go, he said, and Wine looked at him. I will come back after talking with Appa. Okay, then don't be late. Wine smiled. I won't. Saying this, she rushed out of his house to her house, who is just next door. Appa, you are hiding something. He immediately asked his dad after making sure Wine left the house. Jungkook dad signed. Cook, promise me that you will be calm after hearing me, he said, making Jungkook more confused. Appa, just say it, he coldly said while rolling his eyes. Jungkook dad signed Kim thinking of arranging the marriage of Princess with Jack, one of your classmates. He said, making Jungkook's face turn cold and emotionless. What? She asked, not being able to take the fact of Wine marrying someone else other than her son. Yes, honey, today his dad and me and Kim were having a meeting, and in between the meeting, he bring this proposal. But how can that be possible? Cook loves wine. You should have stopped the marriage early. Well, Jungkook dad son, how can I? Don't you remember his past? He will not agree. I too badly want Wine and Cook should get married, but he signed and looked at Jungkook just to see him still standing emotionless. Cook say something. She shaked him, bringing him back to reality. Don't worry, Wine will never marry anyone else except me, he said, making both of his parents confused. Jungkook dad frowned. What do you mean? Jungkook shrimp, I know what to do, Appa. Saying this, he walked towards his room, leaving his confused parents who were looking at each other, asking through eyes what Jungkook is up to. Wine shocked, Appa, what are you saying? She asked her dad in broken voice, still not believing what her dad just told her, and Jungkook's face was all now roaming inside her mind. I know you are surprised, but I just ask your opinion whether you are okay with the marriage or not, he said, bringing Brian back to reality. And she thought that it's the right time to say to her dad that she loves Jungkook, as she had a hope that her dad might accept Jungkook if she says she loves him, because her dad never said no to her. So she took a deep breath and, Appa, I don't want to marry Jack. I love. Before she can complete, her dad cutted her off. Because you love Jungkook, right? He said, making Wine's eyes wide open in surprise, but then too she nodded her head as yes. Wine dad sign, honey, don't you remember what happened to your mom just because I was a mafia back then? So I don't want you to experience the same. So please forget Jungkook, he said in a calm voice as if he is trying to convenience Wine. But Appa, but I'm friend with him from childhood and I'm always with him and see nothing happened to me. Wine dad sign, that's because Jungkook still hasn't officially taken the Mafia King's position of his dad, but soon he will take his dad position after his graduation. And do you think after that you will be safe? No, you won't. He already have lots of enemy and it will increase after his official announcement of being the Mafia King, and your life will be in danger, which I don't want. But Appa, see, Jungkook's dad is also a mafia king and nothing happened to Oma. He protects her and I'm sure Cook will also protect me. She tried to convenience her dad and her words somehow made Wine's dad hard to accept her daughter's love, but then too he was scared. So, okay then, if you don't want to marry Jack, don't marry him. But I will never let you marry with Jungkook. Being friend with him is okay and nothing more. Saying this, he turned around and walked to his bedroom but halted on his step when he heard, but Appa, what about my love for Cook? She asked him her broken voice, but Wine's dad didn't face her nor replied to her question and just walked towards his bedroom. Appa, she called him in her pleasing crying voice, hoping he will stop and say yes to her love, but no, Wine's dad just ignored it and walked away. Wine stomped her feet and sadly left to her room, but little did they know someone was hearing their conversation and he immediately took his phone and called someone to share the conversation of Wine and her dad. Jungkook was impatiently waiting for something and soon his phone rang and he took the call after seeing his man calling. Jungkook called, yes, okay. He cut the call and his face turned blank after what he heard and he sat on bed and kept staring at his feet as if he is thinking what to do. What should I do now? I can't lose her. I want her and also I want to gain uncle's trust and that I can protect Wine with my life, he said to himself and sat while grabbing his hair, and then suddenly he got an idea. Yes, what if I make her pregnant, right? If she is carrying my baby, then no one can separate us, at least not for the sake of the baby. His eyes light up with hope and he immediately again took his phone to check Wine's date when she got last period and mark it in his phone. Right time. He trimmed after checking everything is perfect. So he walked towards the nightstand and got and I'm sorry babe, hope you won't get mad on me. I'm doing it for us and also I will confess everything to you and about your dad's trust. Trim, I know how to gain your dad's trust. He kept the packet in his pocket. Wine was sitting on the bed and she was waiting for Jungkook because he always come to her room at least once in night. Wine was deeply thinking now what to do because her first attempt of confessing her love to her dad failed. Now what should I do? I was hoping that at first Wappa will say no, but when I will please him, he will accept my love, but he didn't. Now what should I do? I won't cook. She again started thinking deeply while grabbing her hair and she got an idea. What if I got pregnant? Yeah, Appa will have no other option other than to accept Jungkook. Her eyes lighted with hope, but then she again thought of her dad making her face dull. I'm sorry, Appa. I love Jungkook so much, and I know you are worried for me, but I'm sure Cook will protect me, she said as if she is saying to her dad, and then she took a deep breath to calm herself and also to prepare herself to tell Jungkook about her plan. And soon she heard noises from balcony and she got up from bed and stood up and saw Jungkook walking towards her and stood in front of her. Were you waiting for a long time? No, Cook, I wanna say something very important. She was nervous and shy to say to Jungkook to get her pregnant. Go on, baby, I'm listening. He asked Wine to continue, but instead Wine got more nervous. But then her eyes fall on Jungkook's lips, so she got what to do. Wine placed her lips on his, and Jungkook thought that Wine was about to say that she is, but she shrugged off that thought because he too wanted it. So he pulled her up by her and started her deeply. Jungkook pulled Wine more up, resulting Wine to automatically wrap her legs around his, and he walked towards the bed, and soon he laid Wine on bed and he above her without breaking the. To be continued in Instagram, link is in description. Jungkook was about to pull back from Wine and propose her, but I love you, Cook. She said as now she is sure that no one can separate them, but it made Jungkook pull back from Wine's and he looked at Wine as if he heard something wrong. Come again, did you say you love me? He asked her, being surprised, and Wine blushed before pulling him towards her and peeked his lips. Yes, I love you, she again said, and this time Jungkook's eyes turned teary and I love you more, babe. I love you so much. I will never leave you. Saying this, he started peeking Wine's whole face, making Wine jiggle. I know you will never leave me, she said, making Jungkook to stop her, and he looked at her. Yeah, I will never leave you. And don't worry about your dad. I will make him accept our relationship, he said, and Vine nodded her head, and thus Jungkook smashed his lips on her, which she happily accepted and thus gone for another. Vine's dad opened the door to see Jack and his parents. You please come inside. He invited them inside the house and they all settled on the couch. You didn't give reply to our proposal, and our son was in getting impatient, so we decided to visit you and Wine, he said, and thus Wine dad realized that he forgot to inform them about Wine's decision of not getting married to Jack because he himself was sad after knowing Wine's love Jungkook and confessed what to do. I'm sorry I got busy and also I am okay with marriage, but Princess, before he can complete Jack happy, really thank you so much for accepting me. He said as he thought that Wine to agreed for marriage. Jack, it's not. Where is Wine? Can we see her? Wine's dad was again cut it off and yeah, sure you can. Wine just took the pregnancy test because Jungkook asked her to, and also she was aware of Jungkook's plan, so she took the test. God, please make it positive, and I'm sure that Dad will accept Jungkook and mine relationship after knowing that I'm carrying his baby. Please, God, please. She prayed to God. In the meantime, she was waiting for the result, and then okay, it's time to see the result. She took a deep breath and looked at the test in her hand, and her eyes got wide open in surprise. Yes, I'm pregnant. She happily jumped in washroom, but soon she realized she is pregnant, so she stopped jumping and placed her hand on her tummy. Oops, I'm sorry, baby. I just got happy after knowing I got you. Thank you so much, baby, for coming to Mama. Come, let's go and tell everyone about your arrival, especially your Appa who gave you to me. She shrimped, no, thinking Jungkook's reaction and walked down. Vian happily walked down the stairs just for her happy face to turn into a cold one because she saw Jack and his family talking to her dad, and her dad turned around just to see, oh, Princess, I was about to call you to come here. He gestured Vian to come towards him through his hand, and Vian walked towards him and sat next to him. Here, meet my daughter Kim Wine. Princess, say hi to Mr. and Mrs. Park. Hello. She greeted them with a cold face and turned her face towards Jack just to see him streaming at her, making Wine to roll her eyes on him. So let's talk about marriage. When before he can complete, Appa, I want to say something. Wine cutted him off. Go on, Princess. Wine took a deep breath and gathered herself to say to her dad, Appa, I'm pregnant with Jungkook's baby. He said while directly looking deep in his eyes, and Wine's dad had skipped a bit and his whole body got numb. Appa say something. She shaked her head, bringing him back to reality. But what the? He stood up from the couch, gaining everyone's attention and making everyone scared by seeing a whole new Jack as he was staring at Wine with red eyes. You, I was knowing that something is going on between you and that Jungkook. He walked towards Vine and made her stand up by grabbing her elbow. How can you get pregnant after agreeing to marry me, huh? He asked her, making Vine cough. I didn't agree to marry you. Back off from me. Saying this, she jerked his hand from her, making Jack more angry. So he was about to whine while saying you before he can complete. A voice brought everyone back to reality as everyone were so shocked after seeing Jack's behavior. Dare you touch my girl, and I will make sure that you will not see the sunrise. Everyone looked at the doorstep to see Jungkook and his dad and mom and Cook. She immediately ran towards him and threw herself on him, and he hugged him as got her. You okay, babe? Did he hurt you? He asked Wine, and Wine pulled back from the hug and faced Jungkook, but still in his embrace. No, I'm fine, but she paused and her eyes turned teary, making Jungkook's heart ache so. What happened, babe? Why are you crying? Did he touch you? Did he hurt anything to you? Just say I will before he can complete. Wine smashed her lips on his and he melted in her and her back and Jungkook understand everything. Jungkook smiled. You pregnant? He asked her, taking her off guard, but Wine surprised. Yeah, how you know? She asked him, being surprised, and Jungkook just shrimped at her. I will tell you that later. For now, let me handle him. Wine just nodded her head, and lastly, Jungkook peeked her forehead, and both broke the hug. And Wine stood next to Jungkook's mom. I'm so happy for you, baby. She Wine's forehead, which made Wine smile at her, but then everyone's attention went to Kim. He is not good for Wine. He's playing with us, he said while walking to a scared Wine's dad, as he was just shocked after hearing Wine is pregnant by Jungkook. So he has only one option now, to let her marry Jungkook, which was scaring him from inside. Yes, uncle, just see this. He too walked towards Wine's dad and gave him his phone, which has some video. And Wine's dad took the phone, and what he saw made his eyes turn red in anger. How dare you try to sell my daughter? He said in his bold, scary voice, making everyone scared, as no one has seen Wine's dad this much scary except Jungkook's dad, who was now shrimming, knowing that his best friend is back to his mafia self. What happened, Kim? Wine dad scoffed. What happened? Just see this. He threw the phone towards Jack's parent, who also got scared seeing his son Mo's side after watching the video. As in that video, he was talking on phone to someone, as he will give wine to them. What the Jack? How can you do this all? He asked Jack, who was standing while facing the floor, as he was knowing that he got caught and now no one can save him. So Dad, I just before he can complete a hard fall on his cheek, and he looked up to see his mom. Him. Did I raise you for this? We are ashamed of you. I'm sorry, Kim. John, please forgive us, and my son, please. We will never show us face to you. Make sure to keep the words, otherwise you know, he said, and Jack's parent bowed at them and hold Jack's hand and drag him out, but Wine's dad's eyes were fixed on Jack's disappearing figure. Uncle, you okay? He asked and placed his hand on Wine's dad's shoulder, bringing him back to reality. Yeah, I am. He faced Jungkook with a guilty eyes. Cook, I'm sorry for neglecting your love towards my daughter. I just wanted my daughter's safety. That's why I was scared of accepting you as my son-in-law. But now you proved me that you will protect my daughter even if I fail to protect her, he said while taking Jungkook's hand in his. As what Jungkook did now literally saved Wine's life, making Wine's dad hearts melt for Jungkook, and he accept Jungkook. That means you accept a relationship. Yes, I am accepting you to marry my daughter, but you have to keep protecting my daughter just like you protect her now. Jungkook smiled. I will always protect her and will never let anything happen to her as long as I am alive, Jungkook sincerely said, making Wine's dad hard to trust him more. Okay then, John, let's arrange kids' marriage, he said, making everyone. Of course, after all, they are going to give us a grandkid. Everyone were so happy, and Jungkook and Wine were happily staring at each other. But Cook, I want you to do one more thing, he shrimmingly said, making everyone confused. Jungkook walked into the basement. A loud screaming can be heard, and Sony entered the place just to see Uncle stop. He said, making Wine stop to stop the man on this chair. Cook, I was enjoying my comeback as Mafia. You spoiled it, he said, making Jungkook chuckle. Oops, I'm sorry for that, but I want to handle him as he laid his on my girl, he said, making Wine's dad shrimp. Fine, as you say, enjoy it, and I already gave him enough for what he was planning to do with my daughter, he said, and patted Jungkook's shoulder and turned around and left. So how are you feeling, Jack? He asked Jack after making sure Wine's dad left the basement, and he was walked towards Jack to untie his rope. Jungkook, he would have me if you haven't come on time, he said, and wiped his from the side of his lip, and Jungkook completely untie him. But it didn't happen, right? Yeah, thank God, and I should leave now. My parents might be waiting for me in the airport, he said after slowly standing up as his legs were hurted too. You can walk with your legs? Yeah, I can. After all, you are paying me millions for that, he said, making Jungkook and Jack shrimp at each other. Here, he forwarded a check of $1 billion, and Jack took it, making his eyes wide open in surprise. Oh God, it's worth getting this all. And thank you so much, Jungkook. I should leave now. Jungkook just nodded his head and signaled his man to drop Jack, and thus everyone left the basement. Jungkook entered his bedroom just to see eyes sparkle after seeing his love sitting on his bed deep in thought, but it reminded him of his long-time dream, so he walked towards her and babe, he called her, gaining her attention, and sat next to her and took her in his. Where are you lost? He asked while cherishing her cheeks. And I was thinking of why you didn't do anything to Jack back in my house. She asked him because she clearly knows how protective and possessive he is for her. Has he even the out of boys who just confess her? Jungkook Shrim, you wanna know? Wine just nodded her head, but I will tell you, but before that, let me have you. It was my long dream to make with you in my bedroom, he said, as he always in Wine's room. But Wine smiled, yes, you can. But before Wine can ask him to clear the misunderstanding, Jungkook smashed his lips on her, which melted Wine's heart, and she ended up forgetting about Jack and him back. Jungkook and Wine were cuddling after their passionate time, but Wine was all shocked after hearing everything from Jungkook. I'm sorry, babe, I just did it to gain your dad's trust. But trust me, baby, I will always protect you with my life. I will never let anything happen to you, he said sincerely to her, making her smile. I trust you, Cook, she said, making Jungkook's half heart relax. But I'm also sorry to make you pregnant without your permission, he said while placing his hand over her tummy, and his eyes were teary too. Cook, I was knowing that you got me pregnant, and also don't be sad. That day I too was about to say to you to get me pregnant because I too shy to say. Now Jungkook was all relaxed after he confessed everything to Wine, and also after knowing that Wine forgave him. I love you, babe. He lovingly Wine's forehead. Wine smiled. I love you more. Saying this, she cupped Jungkook's cheek and him on his lips, which he happily replied back. The end. Thanks for watching. Bye.